Hello, class. Hope you're enjoying these first couple weeks of our class. These first couple weeks have been focused on ethical systems. I just want to bring a little clarity to some of the things we've been studying. Both deontology and utilitarianism are not necessarily Christian approaches to ethics, although they resonate well with some things about Christianity. Right, but to understand the conversation about ethics, these are some terminology that you need to understand. So in the PowerPoint, it's going to give you kind of an outline of what these terms mean. And I'm going to pull up the PowerPoint and kind of go through it for us together. Give me just a moment. And while I'm pulling it up, I recommend that you pull it up as well. And we can, it's the one called Doing Right Ethics. So we've talked about now consequentialism or teleological theories. Teleological just means that they have direction or purpose, or there is an end goal, so goal-oriented theories, right? Telos, aim, goal, end result. If the result is good, the act is good. And I'm on the second slide of the Doing Right PowerPoint. If the result is good, the act is good. Right? So you're looking for good results. Egoism says what brings the most pleasure and the least pain for the actor, the one doing the action, the actor, what gives the best result. Good is measured by result. Utilitarianism, on the other hand, is what brings the most pleasure and the least pain for the most people. So it's not what's best for me, but it's what's best for most. Okay, and you're going to get some direction for this out of the videos that we did, the PBS videos. I just want to remind you those are not from a Christian perspective. So when the Deontology one says that it's a system with no God required, I want us to understand that's not our perspective. It just gives a little bit of help in understanding in a cute and sometimes funny way of what these terms mean. So egoism, slide 3, the best long-term interest for the actor, long-term. So it's not just about in the moment. That's hedonism. Hedonism is about pleasure in the moment without regard to the long-term consequences. Egoism is what's best for you long-term. Learning the rules like you did, learning to be a good person and do things that are best for you in the long term. A lot of Christians are egoists in that our actions revolve around what's best for our long-term pleasure, and that would be heaven. Right? So if you're doing what you're doing not to be right, not to be good, but to get to heaven, then that's an egoism approach and probably not in line with Scripture. It's what we used to call fire insurance, right? But mostly we're focusing on utilitarianism. Jeremy Bentham, he saw it very much quantitative. You could measure what was best for the most people. John Stuart Mill added to pleasure avoiding pain. So it's the most pleasure, the least pain for the most people. And taken to its fullest extent, this becomes the ends justify the means, doing whatever it takes to get right results that are morally pleasurable for the most people. This can lead to some very bad motives, right? So knowing that this leads to that, they came up with act utilitarianism as what's classical utilitarianism, the action that produces the most good, but then rule utilitarianism, acting in a way that generally produces the most good. Okay, so I want to talk about the trolley problem here, and it's almost been hinted at in one of our videos. The trolley problem says that there's a trolley going down the tracks, and it's going to hit 5 people, 5 workers. on the track, and you have the ability to switch the track so that it goes to the other track and kills one person. A utilitarian would say that you have a responsibility to switch that track so that train runs over one person. A deontologist would say you should never act in a way that causes death. You should never kill. And by switching the track, you're killing that one person. The 5 people were already dead. So the deontologist says you cannot change the track. The utilitarian says you must change the track to save the most people. These are extreme versions of these positions, but enough to help us understand the difference, right? So one of our videos, after everyone would say, yes, switch the track, or many people, especially from a utilitarian perspective, would say, switch the track, they came back with the example of the doctor, the transplant doctor, who had 5 people that needed transplants, and there's one person who lives alone, doesn't have any family, no one would miss him. He happens to be a perfect match. Should you kill the one person to save the 5? And even the utilitarian would say, no, we don't want to live in a society where people are constantly in worry of being harvested for their organs. So slide 6 talks about rule utilitarianism, saying that rules that govern our action should produce the most good for the most action. So we look at the slide 7 is the consequentialist theories. Remember, we did these backwards in our reading with Tyra from what my notes are here. Non-consequentialism focuses, mainly talks about deontology. That's Kantian. Kant is all about the rules, but he is the one that said, that they are morally discernible through rational thought. So when we go back to modernism, postmodernism, Kant is the very beginning of modernism. He's this idea that we don't need to seek God, that we don't need to have revelation, that we can rationally know what's good. And rationally knowing what's good, he had a series of maxims. One of those was act in such a way that you would desire that your action be universalizable, which means don't do to other people what you would not want done to you, which sounds a whole lot like the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So deontology is almost a rationalistic, godless, rules-based golden rule, right? Looking at slide number 7 again, other non-consequentialist theories are going to be divine command, which we'll talk about later, and natural law can be somewhat of a deontological. It says that God or a God has written the laws of morality on your heart. Divine command is pre-modern, is basically 10 commandments. Don't do the things, right? Depending on, but divine command can be from another deity and from another perspective. We'll talk about that later. So Kantian deontology, categorical imperatives, focused on rules and duty. The rules are rationally discernible. You have the mental capacity as a human, or most humans have the mental capacity to discern what logical, rational, ethics rules are. Act only according to that maxim. This is slide number 8, whereby you can at the same time will that it should become a universalizable law, a universal law. So according to Kant, Nazis are at the door. You have a Jewish family hidden under your floorboards. Can you lie? No, you cannot lie. And they kind of did a Godfather video. Part of the video was a Godfather scenario where someone's at the door wanting to kill someone, and you lie and they get killed anyway. Then it's your fault because you didn't follow the rules. Then starting verse 9. Yeah, I'm preaching instead of teaching today. Starting slide 9, we get into divine command theory, and we'll talk about that later. So I just wanted you to understand The trolley problem, classic ethical dilemma, right? Do you do this or do you do that? How do your ethical systems determine your actions? Are you acting according to a utilitarian principle or a deontological principle? We're going to find that neither of them really answer the question of motive. Neither of them really can be guiding for our ethical choices and actions, but they do. It is important for us to understand the difference between utilitarianism, the most good, the least pain for the most people, and deontology, follow the rules. I hope this was helpful.